Welcome back, 8:10 on your Sunday morning, and it is time for this morning's First and Finest. And this morning we are joined by Brian Foley of Connecticut's Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. Brian, as always, so good to have you this morning.
Good morning, Irish. Good to see you back.
Thank you. And I want to dive into some of these questions right here just to make sure we can get all these topics covered here. A very busy week in Hartford, and we saw a hit and run as one of the incidents that police were responding to. And a good thing there that we saw was the coordination between state police and Hartford police to make sure that they captured that suspect involved there. Talk to me about the coordination there and what we know right now about that hit and run.
Yeah, so it was sad to see, obviously, a woman was killed, but keep in mind this was two people were actually struck. A 59-year-old male was still in critical condition as of a day or two ago over at Hartford Hospital. And I want you to know that obviously accidents and fatalities are up around the entire state, so it's not anything that's isolated to Hartford. But that area over there, probably about 6 blocks from where we're standing right now, is an area that people in Hartford want you to know that's not a great spot to commit crimes by any stretch. One, there's a lot of police officers there to begin with. Two, the Connecticut State Police have Troop H right on Washington Street. And three, the area is blanketed in cameras. It's not like they don't want people to know about the cameras so they can catch people. They want people to know the cameras are there, and you're probably not going to get away with crime if you do something there. And what happened the other night? Tragically, 2 people were struck by a motorist. And in that area, there's access to 91 and 84 on-ramps right within a couple blocks. And typically, a lot of people do jump up onto the highway. The Connecticut State Police, monitoring the hotline, heard the call come in. There was 911 calls as well. They were keeping their eye out for an accurate MDX. Connecticut State Police pulled the vehicle over. They stopped the woman safely up on the highway. They were able to get Hartford Police over there. And she was unfortunately charged with second-degree manslaughter with a motor vehicle and operation under the influence at this time. So good coordination, and I can tell you that either way, sometimes incidents come off the highway and into Hartford, and Hartford ends up on the highway sometimes, and both departments obviously coordinate very, very well, and it happens all the time.
And I want to stay right there in Hartford. As I mentioned, we've covered a couple of stories there this week. One of them where officers witnessed a shooting, and state police were also able to assist in that case right there. What can you tell us about that?
Obviously, when there's shots fired at somebody like that, it's taken very seriously. And those that were in the area noticed that the highway was completely shut down for probably a period of about an hour or so while they recovered evidence. So what was the Violent Crimes Task Force here in Hartford was investigating shootings, and obviously they were on to something and watching the right person. They had followed that car from the south end, and the car went up onto the highway. Look, these officers were acting in an undercover capacity, in an undercover vehicle, and so that's a risky job to begin with. But while they were up on the highway, they saw someone either shoot at them or at another vehicle. Obviously, there was evidence. The car took off, and now you had a coordination of a lot of agencies. The Connecticut State Police came and assisted. The vehicle was covered in New Britain by New Britain Police, and then there was a massive search on it. At this point, they hadn't arrested any suspects. What I can tell you is they did recover some significant evidence here in Hartford without saying what it was. The motor vehicle was recovered, and the Connecticut State Police blocked off the entire highway, searched the area where the shots were fired, and found shell casings up on the highway. Typically, in any investigation, when you have a vehicle, when you have shell casings, and when you have the evidence that was recovered here in Hartford, one of the things they're going to do is turn that evidence over to the Connecticut State Lab, where the lab technicians are going to do their run of tests on it, to include the NIBIN test on the shell casings to see where those shell casings and what pistol those shell casings came from, and also DNA in that vehicle, DNA on the shell casings, and DNA on the evidence here. So a lot of solvability factors between the state lab, state police up on the highway, and the great work of Hartford Police on obviously picking out the right person to follow on the highway. Hopefully they already have good evidence off the street. Hopefully they find the suspect soon between all the agencies involved.
All right, Brian, thank you for those updates right there. I do want to switch gears right now. Of course, the big story this week, the president of the United States testing positive for COVID-19 along with his wife. And then we also saw Congresswoman Jahana Hayes. She is also recovering from this virus. So I just want to talk to you briefly about what you all are doing to try and help protect some of our state leaders to make sure that they are staying safe and staying virus free if they can.
So let's talk holistically first. There's plans, continuity of government and continuity operations within the state departments as well. These plans have been in effect for years and years. They were updated back in September and August. And there's been training here with the Department of Emergency Management and Department of Public Health for very similar types of operations long before we're talking last summer now. This hit. So there was plans in place. So like, let's say if you're the head of a department of the state, say Commissioner Ravella, if he were to get COVID, then the next in command would be Colonel Malikas of the Connecticut State Police. But that's not just in emergency management. That's every department in the state. So they have that. They want to make sure these plans have been in place for a long time. And so each department had to come up with that continuity of operations where if one person goes down, there's a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and it goes back like that, so that the state of Connecticut still has all their departments functioning. As far as the governor himself is concerned, I would say out of a scale of 1 to 10 on protection, he's a 10. He's very careful about who's around him. Now, keep in mind that he has the Connecticut State Police security detail around him at all times. And in talking with them early on, we had told them, look, if the governor gets sick, people are going to look at it as if the Connecticut State Police failed, and we cannot have that. And they're very careful. The governor's very careful. He's a lot like me in that he likes to be around people. He likes to talk to people. He likes to be out and about. And he is out and about, but extremely careful, wearing a mask when he's close to people. He likes to keep his distance. We all know around him, we keep our distance. Very good about having his department heads be able to use Zoom and Teams meetings, and obviously using technology as opposed to being face-to-face. I can tell you he wants to be out there. He wants the state to be back up and running fast and everyone being out just like they usually are. But at this time, he's very careful. The Connecticut State Police security details very careful as to who and how people get around him. So well prepared here in the state. Hopefully nothing more happens here in the state of Connecticut, but the state is well prepared.
All right, that is good to hear. And while we have you on this morning, before I let you go, we love to highlight when you all are doing such great work into the community here. I'm looking at your Twitter page where you tweeted a picture of some of your employees having a chance to deliver some supplies that will go to some folks that are without a home. Talk to me about that and how that came about with that coordination.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's again more coordination between the Connecticut State Police and Hartford Police. So Rosemarie Pesca is one of the people in our financial department in the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. Her and a lot of the employees for the state had been gathering supplies for the homeless over the last year or so, and a lot of those supplies were put into bags. And a lot of times the troopers just grab some of those bags and they keep them in their cruisers. And look at everyone in the state drives down every off ramp or so many off ramps, and you see the homeless there, and the troopers like to grab those bags and hand them out. We had some extra supplies. Look at what Officer Barrett does here in the city of Hartford. It's no secret. He's fantastic. That program was actually started under Commissioner Ravella when he was police chief here, and we want to keep assisting Officer Barrett in the work they're doing with the homeless. So Trooper Ken Dillon grabbed the supplies and delivered them to Barrett Friday afternoon here at the Capitol. Barrett has that truck. He's hands-on. He drives right around and gives them out to the homeless. So great work by the state employees to come up with all those donations. I look forward to it happening again, probably around the holidays again this year, and great coordination between the two departments. And Officer Jim Barrett's just always willing to take whatever he can grab to get out to the homeless.
All right, we love to see it. Brian Foley joining us this morning. Brian, I want to thank you for joining us and for all those updates. Good to have you as always.
All right, I see you.